Welcome back to Only Talk Sports. We talk sports every single day, or at least we try to. I'm your host, Jeffrey, and subscribe to the channel if you like sports content. Hit that notification bell so you never miss another video. The transfer portal has been really kind to a lot of college basketball teams, but the Texas Longhorns might have just landed one of the biggest transfer portal names available. Max Abmas, the former Oral Roberts guard, has decided to head back home to his home state of Texas and transfer to the Texas Longhorns. I'm going to go over how important of an addition this could be for the Texas Longhorns getting Max Abmas, and whether I think that Max Abmas could help Texas have a great chance to be a fantastic team in the Big 12 next season. Now, Max Abmas, he is a 6', 174-pound guard. He's definitely undersized, but people know Max Abmas as a bucket-getting guard out of Oral Roberts. And Oral Roberts is in Oklahoma, and he's going back to his home state of Texas to play for the Longhorns. But Oral Roberts is a university that is really small, but Max Abmas was able to go there and have a lot of success over the past few seasons of college basketball. He's averaged 24 points per game, 22 points per game, and 22 more points per game the last 3 seasons of his college basketball career. And besides the 21.9 points per game he averaged this past season, he also averaged 4.4 rebounds and 4 assists. And Max Abmas is probably most remembered for the year that him and Kevin O'Banner helped Oral Roberts have success in the NCAA tournament, and they were able to beat the number 2 seed Ohio State Buckeyes and get that upset there. But Max Abmas is just a walking bucket. He is a guy that, even though he is small and he is undersized, he does not let that affect his game. He still goes out there and he shoots the ball at a high level from 3. He can get to the rim and be able to lay it in, even though he does get blocked a lot by bigger defenders. But he plays so hard at an extremely high level. And in this modern day of college basketball, where a lot of guards have to be tall, Max Abmas is still proving he can play at a high level as a shorter player. And Max Abmas might not even be 6 foot. He might be a little bit shorter than that, but still, it does not matter. This is a huge addition for Texas because the Longhorns are losing so much talent to the NBA draft, into the transfer portal, and to graduation as well. And Rodney Terry had to find a way to be able to replace a lot of that talent. And getting Max Abmas back in his home state to play for the Texas Longhorns is huge. No matter the which way you slice it, it does not matter that Max Abmas is short. Yes, there will be an adjustment period to the Big 12 because going over from Oral Roberts to the Big 12 will be tough, but Max Abmas showed and proved that he could have a lot of success against bigger teams in college basketball during the NCAA tournament, and when Oral Roberts also played other teams that were really successful in college basketball during the non-conference. So I think that Max Abmas can make that adjustment fairly well. It will be tough for him to do that off the jump, but I do think that Max Abmas can have success for Texas at a high level next year. And he did struggle a little bit against Duke in the NCAA tournament this past season, but that might have had a little bit to do with the fact he did not have Kevin O'Banner next to him as well. I still feel like Oral Roberts was a solid team, but Max Abmas definitely was the guy that Duke had to key in on the most. But still, that game should not be a detraction against Max Abmas. This is a big addition for the Texas Longhorns in a variety of ways, because it's not just about Max Abmas' scoring. He's not going to average 22 points per game for Texas next season, and he should not have to for the Longhorns to have success. If Max Abmas can come in and be the same player that he always has been for Oral Roberts, but instead of averaging 22 points per game, average around 14, 15 points per game, maybe even a little less than that, around 13 points per game, he'll still be huge for Texas because that assist number might go up from 4 assists to maybe 5 or 6. He's a great passer, and he's going to have so much more talent around him at Texas that his assist rate should go up tremendously, and he is a guy that still can shoot the 3 ball at a high level. He shot 43.6% from the field this past season for Oral Roberts and 37.3% from the 3-point line. So I expect that 3-point rate to still be at a high level for Max Abmas at the Texas Longhorns next season, because he is a guy that shoots the 3 ball at a high level, and he's going to have to do that because it's going to be very difficult for him to get to the rim with all of the bigs in the Big 12 being able to probably block his shots. Next season, you look at Jesse Edwards at West Virginia is going to have. Kansas always has shot blockers. So it's going to be really difficult for Max Abmas to get to the rim, but he's still going to be able to step back and shoot jump shots and be able to shoot the 3 ball at a high level. And also, Max Abmas shoots 91.9% at the free throw line. How could you not want a player that shoots that well at the free throw line? He's going to be a guy that will be clutch at the end of games for the Texas Longhorns, whoever they're playing in the Big 12. If they're in a close game and they're barely winning, give the ball to Max Abmas, let him get fouled, and he will knock down those free throws. So Max Abmas, he is ranked as one of the highest players in the transfer portal. Most outlets have him as the 2nd or 3rd ranked player in the transfer portal, and he should be. It does not matter that he is short in size. He might lack size, but he makes up for it with heart and hustle, and Max Abmas wants to prove that he belongs, and he proved at Oral Roberts he could have success against big teams, and I think that even though he is undersized, he'll have a lot of success for Texas next season. And again, Texas needed a player like Max Abmas to come in because they are losing players like Marcus Carr, Sir-Jabari Rice, Christian Bishop, and Timmy Allen, all to eligibility. They are all gone. They have all graduated. Dylan Dessou, his announcement that that he was returning was big for Texas. He will be a big player for the Longhorns next season, to pair with Cade Shedrick, another transfer portal player that Texas has brought in. And that's going to be a guy that I think will benefit from Max Abmas' transfer portal addition for Texas, because Cade Shedrick will be able to get a lot of passes from Max Abmas, and Cade Shedrick is a guy that can pick and pop. If you get Max Abmas off the dribble and flare it back to Cade Shedrick with a pick and pop, that could help Cade Shedrick get a lot of good looks from three, to be able to improve his three-point shooting percentage, to be able to help his stop be able to potentially go pro, because Cade Shedrick definitely wants to go to the NBA draft. I think Cade Shedrick will be able to get a lot of good passes down low as well, so that's going to be able to help Cade Shedrick, and I think it will be able to help Max Abmas having a good center like Cade Shedrick and Dylan Dessou in the front court for Texas to be able to pass the ball to. Ron Holland, he's coming in. He's a five-star recruit. He'll have a lot of success for Texas next season. And yes, Arterio Morris and A.J. Johnson are not suiting up for Texas next year. Arterio Morris in the transfer portal, and A.J. Johnson, he is going to Australia and not staying committed to the Texas Longhorns. The well is not dry for Texas, because if they can get Tyrese Hunter and Dylan Mitchell back from testing the NBA draft waters, that will be huge. And Brock Cunningham and Alex Anemkwe are both returning for the Texas Longhorns. So Texas, they are a team that is a great program in college basketball. They have a lot of NIL money. They also have a great fan base that wants to win. Even though Texas is more of a football school, they still want to win in basketball, and they have great fan support. But they have a basketball team that definitely had some holes on it, especially at that point guard position, because they are losing players that handle the basketball for the Longhorns this past season. But Max Abmas, he is a true point guard. Yes, he's undersized, but he will have a massive impact for Texas next season, because he's going to make every single player on the Texas roster better next season by setting up passes to them. Max Abmas also rebounds at a high level for a short guard, and he scores the basketball at a high level. So I think Max Abmas will be benefited by being around better players next season. It will make his scoring take a dip, and he probably will not score at as high of a level as he did at Oral Roberts this past season, but he's not going to have to. He's going to have so much more talent around him, and he's going to make every other player on the roster better. It will make Max Abmas better as well, so it's a win-win all around. And for Rodney Terry, he's going to have to mesh all this talent together, but being able to land Max Abmas, even though he's going back to his home state, is huge, because Max Abmas was being recruited by a lot of teams. Kansas State was a program that was looking at Max Abmas as well, and that would have made a lot of sense, because they just had Marquise Noel, a short point guard, so he could have gone there and been able to be under Jerome Tang. You had a lot of success with Marquise Noel. Max Abmas could have followed suit, but he chose to suit up for his hometown Texas Longhorns, and I think this will be a big get for Texas to be able to potentially have a great season next year. If they didn't get Max Abmas, I don't know if they'd have been a great basketball team next year. They could have been a potential top 25 team, but there still were a lot of holes on the roster, specifically at that point guard position. But you do have Ron Holland, a five-star recruit coming in. He will be really solid for Texas next year, a potential one and done. Cade Shedrick and Dylan Dessou make up a really solid front court that should be one of the better front courts in the Big 12, and you also have the potential return of Tyrese Hunter and Dylan Mitchell if you can get both those guys back, and also the return of Brock Cunningham and Alex Anemkwe. Texas probably would have had a borderline top 25 roster, but I think Max Abmas is the icing on the cake, the missing piece for the Texas Longhorns to be a great basketball team next year. And if Texas can get a couple more transfers in, potentially to be solid depth pieces all around, I think that would really shore up Texas's roster and be able to potentially help the Longhorns be one of the better teams in the Big 12 next season, and potentially be able to compete for a Big 12 title. But for Rodney Terry, this is a huge addition to get Max Abmas. He's one of the best players in the transfer portal. Don't let the size fool you. He is a great player. He'll set up his teammates at Texas next season at a high level, and even though his scoring will take a dip, he'll still be a great scorer overall and a great free throw shooter down the stretch in games. He's a fantastic three-point shooter, and he'll be a guy that just does so many things for Texas's offense next season, facilitating and scoring on his own. I think Max Abmas is one of the biggest transfer portal gets in the country, specifically because he's going to Texas, and the fact that they really needed a point guard. And I think for Rodney Terry, getting Max Abmas definitely helps out Max Abmas and the other teammates on Texas's roster to potentially help the Longhorns have a great season in college basketball next season. Subscribe to the channel if you like sports content. Like this video down below. Comment down below what you think about Max Abmas transferring from Oral Roberts to Texas, and whether you think Max Abmas will still play at a high level for the Texas Longhorn next season, even though he is making the jump to the Power 6 level, and whether you think Rodney Terry's doing a great job in this offseason to help build Texas's roster for next year. Follow me on Twitter as well. Link is in the description, and I will see you next time.